send you these links, and it's also being live streamed. I'll send you the links to this after, Giuseppe. But again, thank you so much for taking the time for us here today. I think this is going to be a very interesting presentation. I'd like to first share in the chat the Hyperledger Code of Conduct and the links to the media and entertainment special interest group wiki, and also a link to the Hyperledger Discord chat. I'll do that in a couple of minutes, but if we run out of time today, we'll and there's any other questions that people may want to ask Giuseppe, what I'll do is post his email address in the Discord chat under the MeSig subgroup there. So let me just share these links for you guys now, and then we can hand it over to Giuseppe. 1 second here. There's the chat for the Code of Conduct. Here's a link to the our MeSig, the Immediate Entertainment Special Interest Group. And here's the link to Discord. This is an invite. We've had great success with it, but I think I've seen some times when there's been some difficulty. So if somebody's trying to jump on the Discord and can't get in, we'll figure out a way to get you on. So having said all of that, Giuseppe, welcome, and thank you so much, and the floor is yours.
Thanks a lot, Brad. Thanks for this invite, and hello everybody on Hyperledger community. My name is Giuseppe Perrone. I'm leading the blockchain practice for EMEA market in EY. And the today topic is a solution that we realized to contrast the phenomena of fake news. So I would walk through on the solution and share with you how we approach this topic, how the technology like blockchain can drive this disruption in this field and can ensure a maximum level of traceability and trusting between the parties involved, especially if we look the media market. So in the agenda of today, we will see a couple of elements regarding the context, what we have realized in terms of solution, understood architecture, components, and how we are approaching the next steps of this solution in terms of enlargement of the ecosystem of actors involved, combination of other technologies like artificial intelligence, new scenarios and business model, and principle and sample work products that we have realized. So just to share with you a minimum context of ANSA. ANSA is the #1 Italian news agency and one of the top ranking in the world, the 5th in the world news agency, with 24 publishers of major Italian newspapers. So it's an important company that every day released million of news on their web properties and on the links to the other publisher companies. So as you know, the fake news is one of the biggest challenges that we can observe in this era. That generally can reduce the trusting into the brand. So in order to define a solution that can protect the brand, the reputation of this brand, but in general to maintain the maximum level of integrity in terms of culture and compliance and ethics of this kind of company, ANSA decide with a combination of different analysis realized in a co-innovative and co-innovation approach with EY to release a solution that can use the blockchain technology to ensure this maximum level of quality and trust. So what we mean in terms of fake news is the sharing of information that are not realistic but are fake, because can be interpreted in a different way, can create difficulty in terms of knowing on what is true or false, and have a huge impact in terms of challenges of the different companies that drive the internet transformation in terms of sharing of news. So if we look especially in social network environment and what is feasible to achieve in terms of reach of audience and customer audience impact. So we have realized a survey a couple of years ago. So the 44% of people admitted their trust in media declined because the fake news has an important issue in terms of trusting with this company. And in terms of understanding of the context, now the approach on free news is completely different. So some of the media companies are moving in a concept of paper quality journalism. So they want to pay, but they want to pay to obtain realistic news, to maintain the maximum level of democracy, of freedom in terms of access to the real information. Stop getting your news from Facebook, subscribe to your local newspaper, read one news source devoted to international news. So the proposed solution aims to create this trusted environment, track the entire history of the news, from the reading, from the writing to the reading, in a logic that all actors can access to this information traced on blockchain, that can be the virtual notary to maintain the full level of immutability and immodificability of this information. So the goal is to create an innovative solution. The scope is to distribute for all customers of this news agency a right level of information, protect the ANSA brand, and work to enhance the level of quality journalism, to protect also the journalists from fake news in a logic that they can associate their identity to the news, and this information can be distributed to all audience. In terms of the solution, so in the classical view, we can click on a link on the internet website, access to the news, and see this information with the brand. Like this, the source of this news is, for example, ANSA source. So with the possibility to add a plugin in terms of additional inputs, we have introduced a sticker like ANSA check. So with ANSA check, you can access to the news, and we can allow the reader to see the news history. You can compare the news read with the ANSA source of origin, and you can connect also the actors of journalism and publishing ecosystem. At the end, with this sticker, you can access to the trusted certificate of the news, not tokenized on a blockchain environment. And with this logic, we have used the public blockchain, the mainnet of Ethereum, and second layer like Polygon, also to reduce the impact of price to tokenize this information. So more or less, we have tokenized 2.5 million of news from the starting of this project in April 2021. So every player in the ecosystem can access to the news, can see this information. If they click on answer check sticker, can access to the certificate. Into the certificate, we insert the release of this news, the identity code, in this case, they use the MD5, but also other index that can be used to create an index between the news and the alphanumeric strings that characterize this association, and the content related this ID. So when the reader access to this link can see the information about the registration of the news, the publishing of the news, and access to the certificate on answer check. So if they click on the sticker, it's feasible to see all information and to have the right link on the scanning of the blockchain transaction, like Etherscan, Polygon scan, to verify if the content published on the ANSA website is the same. And at the same time, also, they can do the same also for the news distributed by ANSA to other publishers. So the entire story, from the writing of this news, the publishing, the reposting eventually on social network, can be assured thanks to the link on blockchain. At the end, we have created a real console that in real time can ensure if the context, the text of this news is related to the news distributed by the news agency at the first time. So also, if you want to reproduce this sticker in another website, because at the end is a simple SDK, can be transferred. If the publisher is not qualified, is not identified on the ANSA ecosystem, is not feasible to access and to have the information if the news is authentic. So only all publisher identified can have this sticker and can ensure that the reader that want to have an access to this news can be sure that the news is authentic because it's linked to the initial information. On the certificate, we have the information of block ID, the block hash, the timestamping, the information about the link on Etherscan, as I said. So if you want to verify, the tool will start a real-time data verification by client-side hash calculation, retrieve the hash with the ANSA smart contract getter to compare it. So the verification will be animated to offer a feedback in real time that create this comparison between the original news, the news traced on blockchain, and only if the news is characterized by the same information is feasible to obtain the message and the pop-up that the news is authentic. In terms of ecosystem and publication and repost of the news, we have an ecosystem that is composed generally by the news agency, different publishers, third parties. So the first step for us is to notarize and tokenize on the public blockchain this news, to have also an hybrid approach that we could create an ecosystem between the actors with the, let me say, a permissioned blockchain, but to have the full assurance that all information are trusted in the public environment, leveraging on the public mainnet like Ethereum, or as I said, the second layer like Polygon. The third party onboarding can be used the same sticker, customized with their characteristics, and that is obviously customizable for all publishers. The same for the sites that want to repost the news, they should be recognized inside this ecosystem, and after can have the sticker that can allow the reader to see the entire story of the news. Under the hood of this solution, we have a JavaScript library that can be used for the publisher to have the possibility to connect to the blockchain system for news verification, to recognize and obtain the answer check sticker, and also to have the benefits related, the reputational of all aspects. In terms of notarization, we have an interoperability layer between the platform that registers all news in terms of content management system of the news agency with the blockchain wallet to realize the tokenization of this news on the Ethereum public blockchain. And with the backend, it's feasible to manage all information that can be inserted into the system and can be traduced on the blockchain layer. Also, we have created another layer to guarantee the monitoring of this information, where it's feasible to have a link between the news tokenized on the blockchain and also the news that is reposted in terms of republishing by third party, and also the frequency eventually that is used to repost the previous news. That's it important, because at the end, with this mechanism, you can prevent eventual major sizing of reposting and identifying a logic of fraud detection, eventual root causes that are not in linear in terms of classical news distribution. In terms of another couple of examples, and I would now to share the real demo. So we are reading a news. You can click on the sticker. You can see the information about the release, the MD5 that characterizes the idea of the news, the story of this news in terms of registration, republishing, and if you click on answer check certificate, the solution is live. So if you want to visit the ANSA website, you can ensure and retest what we are looking now. So in terms of real console, as I said, you can start this process to verify the compare between the news published by Hans and the news tokenized on blockchain, and only if the two hashes are in line, you can obtain this check that the news is authentic. So in terms of other next steps, what we are doing now is to export answer check stickers also on social media news feed, to link the journalist signature in terms of creation of a digital twin between the identity of the journalist that signed a specific article and the news traced on blockchain, but that could be also in an epoch related the phenomena of video news or the news linked to pictures, image, to improve the solution that can assure if the image is authentic or not, because that's it another part of the solution. And also thanks to the smart contract automation, manage all the reports inside the ANSA network. In terms of other steps, what we are looking is also to ensure the maximum level of quality and create also an artificial intelligence tool that can be used to identify in terms of literature the number of words that are reposted from the initial news, also to create a semaphoric way to have the level of accuracy between the initial news and the news reposted. And the principal approach is to have a solution that can address these business needs in a way of an as a service solution that can be offered to different actors. So that's it, the overview of the solution, and I would only highlight a final goal that is to increase and reduce this phenomenon, thanks to the possibility to involve more players in a similar ecosystem that can be also different by these, but can be in the blockchain paradigmatic way to trace all of this information, to contrast and not the phenomenon in terms of discovering the fake news, but contrast the phenomenon ex ante with the possibility to prove the origin of the news, the tracing of the news when is released by the author, and not when is distributed, because is very difficult to identify. So in this way, blockchain can be a technology that can tokenize all of this information, associate metadata, and ensure this trusted environment between the information shared in an open ecosystem where all can be the potential user of this information, and eventually can repost a fake news that is not authentic. But in this way, thanks to the link to the first news and the full traceability of the information, you can reduce this huge impact of fake news on the market. So Brad, back to you if there are questions, comments, feedbacks.
Thank you, Giuseppe. I'm looking for questions in the chat, but I have a couple myself. Great presentation. Is this being rolled out outside of Europe? Is it? Have you taken it? Is there anybody in North America that's using this product now? Are you in talks with anyone?
Not yet. We had different discussions with the publisher, news agency, and publisher also in North America, in US in general, and also in other countries. So some different players are working on that. For now, in terms of Europe context, we are working with the Association of News Agency, with, for example, other agencies like France Press or others that can release the similar solution in an optical of consortium of companies, because it's not useful that only one company realized a similar solution, but obviously in a logical ecosystem is important to have on board multiple companies that are the main actors that distribute news in the world and can assure the creation of this trusted environment.
Has there been a significant improvement in circulation or anything like that with any of the publishers that are using this, in terms of their user base and having greater trust in the publications themselves? Is there any indication of that?
Yes, you can consider that when ANSA launched this news, this project, they were affected about this phenomenon, especially related to COVID news. So thanks to this introduction, they protected their brands, they reduced the circulation of fake news, especially looking social network, WhatsApp, and others, because you can introduce on the market a way to educate the reader. If the reader finds the sticker and can access to the traceability of the information, the reader can be sure that the news is authentic. Otherwise, when the sticker is not present, he can have a doubt, and that can reduce the possibility to access to a news that is not authentic, because I would control if the source of origin of this news, like in this case ANSA, published the news or not when I didn't found the sticker. So In this way, they have an enormous result in terms of brand protection, brand reputation, with an increase also of traffic on their website around 15%. That obviously is not only related to the introduction of this innovation, but also to have a better customer audience in terms of affordability and reputation of the brand.
What is the impact that this might have on the cost to the publisher? Is it going to impede the news, the timing of getting news to market, breaking news type of things of that nature? And the actual the financial impact, the economic impact on a publisher? How do you see this improving it in some ways and affecting it negatively in others?
In terms of financial impact, the solution, as I said, is completely as a service. So you can have this direct link on the public blockchain thanks to this connector API gateway. So you can introduce this solution in a seamless way, integrating the library directly in your HTML of the different website where the publisher want to use a similar system. So you should pay only the minimum price for the tokenization blockchain, but you can consider the possibility not to transfer news per news, but to collapse a number of news and create a batch that you can manage on the blockchain side. At the end, in terms of timing to have these tokens, we are saying of maximum 10-15 minutes. So you can insert on your website a sticker that say this news is in certification step. After these 10-15 minutes, you can say this news is traced. So in this way, you can also have a process that obviously when you are a media company or a news agency, the timing is important in terms of breaking news or others. But you can have this minimum level of affordability to say, in order to avoid the rata coverage of a news, you can read this news is in certification, and after the 10 minutes have the news traced and tokenized blockchain. In terms of operational side, they introduce a better control between the publisher, their employees that generally write the news, the insert of the news in the content management system, and the automation of tracing into the blockchain network. So also the journalist is more trusted because it's not feasible to create frauds on the news and distributed by the editor. So in this way, you can have a direct link between the journalist key, the private key, the digital signature, and the news traced on the blockchain. And the last but not least aspect is that, as I said before, the level of brand positioning or brand awareness, thanks to the possibility to say, from now, all of my news are traced, and also the news that I distribute to other third parties can be verified in an easy way, thanks to the rebuilding of the entire story from the writing to the distribution.
Well, I have one last question. That this could be applied to many different types of media. I mean, people could use this product as on a podcast, for example. You could apply this to you could apply it to music. You could apply it to a lot of different things. Have you guys looked at that avenue?
Definitely, yes, is a solution that can be used in a logic of anti-counterfeiting of the media contents in general. That could be video, pictures, news. Obviously, in different cases, like in the news, it's feasible to have a sticker. For other contents, should be useful to add also watermarking of the contents in order to avoid any kind of redistribution of the news. But at the end, the most important things is that the blockchain is this layer that can reduce the frauds, because when you associate a metadata to a specific digital content, you can be sure that all information traced by an author in a specific date, in a specific moment, with a story of information are immutable. So this is the way to have also the possibility to use different media contents in a way where blockchain can be the layer that can guarantee this maximum level of trusting and transparency.
Thank you. That's awesome. I'm going to open the floor to any other questions. If anyone has any questions for Giuseppe, please just unmute yourself and go ahead, ask. If not, we'll close up this part of the presentation. So go ahead if anyone has any questions. I think that all our questions have been answered for now. Giuseppe, is it okay if I post your email address in our Discord, and if anyone has any questions, they can email you directly?
Of course, but please post my email. So if there are questions, inputs, feedbacks, curiosity on this solution, on this case, I can address also offline, and I'm really interested to discuss also after this short conversation.
Thank you very much, Giuseppe, and we really appreciate you taking the time to do this. We're going to see if we can't find some avenues of some solutions or problems, looking for solutions in the media industry. But thank you so much again, and everyone, thank you for attending. And this recording will be available on YouTube pretty soon. So thank you all again, and this concludes our presentation by Giuseppe. Thank you so much.